What's up and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. We're back for another installation of the Siege Double Shot, back in the seasonal series style, my friends. I'm the Reverend Whiskey Glitter, and with me, as always, my partner and co-host, Mr. Whiskey Run. What's up, Whiskey?
Man, what a day it has been. The seasonal series is definitely interesting. It's a format that I think maybe is going to get some tweaking going forward because it's tough in a double round robin. The teams definitely struggle to get anything going. But we did find a match, and it is going to be Overtake sector taking on this Ex-QoR roster. We know we've seen the Ex-QoR several times here on the stream, but on the Overtake side, a couple of guys that you know. Gunner, Satex, Jowly, Goose. I know there's some chat in a chat in the Twitch chat there that this is going to be a landslide, so they're looking to put a stop to that.
Yeah, it could be a real David versus Goliath situation, right? T2 Warriors taking on some relatively unknown. Some of the folks, of course, we've seen on this channel before. But you know what? It can all be determined on where we're going, Run, right? Because sometimes it's your map, sometimes it's not. In this case, for round 5 of the double Red Robin, we're headed to Bank.
All right, and one more thing in the chat, it said Stokesy's going to give them hell, so here's the option. But Bank is ready, my friend. The bans are already started because lobby crashed. We got a little bit of a late start, but we are into it, my friend.
That's right, quickest pre-show you've ever seen, baby. Here are the players, here's the map. Let's get active. Okay, MK Ubers or M-Coobers. We're going to be looking to see if your prediction holds true. Is Stokesy the chosen one here on Bank to try to take on Orgless? Well, what do we love about it, Run? Bank, it's kind of got a bunch of dynamics to it. In this case, for the bans, they're going to be setting themselves on a little bit of that standard, right? Hatch Queen off the board, making sure that they're going to not have an easy time, at least, getting those hatches opened up. And on the defense, the big one, Mira's off the board, which means we can see a relatively safer basement start. Although, to be honest with you, in the age where hatches are important, Hibana not necessarily the one to get the job done anymore.
I know we've been back and forth on this plenty of times at this point of which is the option that most of the teams are going for. Is Hibana necessary? And you said it's certainly not. And especially when it looks like Overtake is going to go ahead and do half the job for the attacking team, opening the hatch up, meaning I'm assuming they're going to have a strong presence upstairs on the office side. And you can see Satex is up there reinforcing some walls, but it doesn't feel like they've got enough of a presence to really run that open hatch strat. Just burn attacker util at this point.
Yeah, a little bit of that area denial, but more likely you'd like to see a castle hold up here to help send that extension into devastating capabilities. Either way, they're going to be having a strong first floor presence as you've got 3 homies hanging up there, including both of your double area denial operators. Smoke, who probably going to be playing close to those stairs with a little bit of fall off capability, and of course Goyo, who seems to be the standard for basement. On the other side of it, Ying's on tech. Franklin bringing out the Ying shotty, now introducing that Reaper to a bunch of lineouts. Ying's going to be one of the first ones. We're going to see him here right now.
The Ying tech, yeah, you said it. It's been an interesting little controversy. We've seen people really adopt that strategy and others sort of avoid it, and I think it comes down to how comfortable you are with the Ying shotty. But Spiff is going to open this thing up by taking down Goose as the first kill here. This is a best of 1 match between these two teams. We're in round 5 of this double round robin, so right now this core roster was not on top. The SSG ACAD squad had that, but after today, I think they're certainly going to take that spot as SSG ACAD forfeiting their first game.
Satex hold up inside of Tellers, but not going to be able to get the work done. Vigil taken off the board, and now man advantage in a heavyweight is going to be sitting into the hands of QoR. Spiff now onto the triple kill. On pace for the ace run as they're looking to try to get things done in a dramatic fashion to start us out. Power off the chassis here as Jolly can't aim. Going to be looking to claim a headshot and try to bring this body balance back into contention, but there is still so much time on the board, Run.
Yeah, plenty of time, and from the attacker side, they've got a little bit of a, I was going to say they had a little bit of control, but Stokesy takes down Focal here as the opening pick finally taking down one, but no way, quad kill now. Spiff, is you said it, on pace for the ace. Franklin, though, is going to steal it.
Reaper to say, no thank you, I'll go ahead and take it. He wanted to show off the new gun, run. You know, want to get in there, get active, and say, hey, Ying Tech, I brought it for a reason, and that reason is the Reaper. Finds one, and it's going to be not a flawless start to round number 1, but pretty damn close.
Yeah, the Spiff 4K, what a way to start it. And yeah, a couple questions in the chat. What is this? This is Ubisoft's Siege X seasonal series. The qualifiers went on 5 weeks, and we are into the double round robin stage of phase 2. And we're going to be moving into the playoffs coming up here after the conclusion of the double round robin, with the top 6 teams moving on. So the bracket command brings that up. It's all laid out there in challenger mode. Although I don't think it really got the play, the advertising that I think they were looking for. So this is the first time we're seeing the seasonal series here. It was a new format created by Ubisoft. And then on the QoR side, QoR the parted ways with their roster, and they are currently the same 5-stack running now as Orgless, Ex-QoR in this case, and it's soon enough that some of the guys haven't changed their in-game names yet.
Yeah, man, did T4 through T2 be like that, though? And that's one of the reasons we've seen so many forfeits over this seasonal series, because it has been, like, astronomically high, right, Run? I almost want to feel, and this is based off nothing but my own, like, thoughts, but it feels like 1 in 3 is getting forfeited out the door. Free wins in the seasonal series.
Yeah, that's right. When we cast the last game on Sunday last weekend, so there's games taking place at 6 and 7 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, today and tomorrow. Last week, 7 of the 16 games have been forfeit, and then 2 of the 4 going on right now also forfeit. So it's an interesting format, but I think, you know, it's typically when you get an Ubisoft series directly, you don't have some of the T4 antics that go on, but this league has really sort of fallen into that. So those of us that have been familiar with the T4 Siege scene for a long time, you know, it's almost expected that you're going to see that as a long season takes place, because this is the 7th week of the seasonal series here. 5 qualifiers, and then this is week 2 of the double round robin. So this is going on a pretty long time.
Yeah, especially for some T4 longevity, right? Those T4 teams aren't 7-week teams. You know, they get in, they play a quick weekend tournament, they absolutely implode, and then we see the newest roster, the newest iteration of the roster in the next bit of the tourney. So yeah, we're living long past the expiration date for some of these teams, and it showed right now. A little bit of a slowdown here, Run, right? First win goes through, Orgless takes it dramatically, Spiff has a crazy round, and then, lo and behold, live siege, so there's some live issues. We're waiting for a person to get back in the lobby.
Yeah, and we didn't spend a lot of time talking about the bans early on, so we could take a look at that. We talked briefly about the Hibana ban that started off, but Overtake on the defense wanted to make sure they're blocking those hard breaches, make it more difficult for this Orgless core roster to try and push their way in, find a way into this map. But I think, you know, they took a much more direct approach, so losing the hard breach certainly was nothing that slowed this team down. And then to lose the Cade and the Mira, that certainly makes direct entry much easier for them to manage. So I think that sort of plays into the style that Ex-QoR here wants to play, and that's going to make them very dangerous. So Overtake has got their work cut out for them. They need to find a way to win early here on defense, build up a little bit of a round buffer before it becomes an insurmountable lead.
Yeah, absolutely. And where's the next space they got to try to get that done at? Well, we're heading up to the 2F, and yet again, we're going to be castleless going into the hold here. Now, they do bring a little bit of that static site warfare. The Architect is on the board, so the ability to keep yourself safe from some of that repel action could be a little bit easier.
5 seconds left.
But a couple of strange ones on the board specifically. I mean, we're bringing out the alibi for this one.
I mean, I freaking love it as an alibi main on defense, but it is certainly not really the comp tech at this point to run the alibi as the alternative here. I think she brings some interesting things to the table. The Bailiff, a devastating SMG. You know, maybe give this defense a little bit of boost there, assuming that Orgless is going to be very aggressive in the way that they approach the map. You know, hoping they're going to be able to catch them off guard, shooting through the alibi clones to just sort of give them some intel and direct and constant intel as they're moving in.
Yeah, and you're going to see Flores and those Roteros start to get to work on some of that extension util, specifically where they're wanting to walk that Monty right up the spiral stairs, start to take some of those engagements face to face, a little bit closer. Now we've got Azami hold up here onto the windows, a couple of quick shots, but nobody worse for wear here just yet.
Yeah, good call there. You've got the defense they're playing the DMRs, and I know we've been talking about this, the shotgun and the age of DMRs happening here as we're getting into the tail end of year 10, and they continue to be very dangerous. And I love specifically on this bank upstairs second floor hold with the long shots towards the top of square. Aruni playing way back against those windows, so she's got to be protected though here by Goose playing that E3. Got to watch out for the Reaper, though, here. Focal running that the Ying combo.
Okay, so Roar now starting to get in. Goose is going to find that first kill as Inrio goes down, and that's going to be the bees off the board. And now Ying Tech starting to make his way in. His rival gets taken down as well. Stokesy able to find one, but Ying shotgun's going to take it. Answer back as the Reaper's looking to get it. Stokesy, Gunner, find one. Now it's all of a sudden going to be up to Focal, who's good for 2. Now as he's taking the top part of Banana here, and that was an entry that absolutely fell apart here for the attacking team. So Overtake in their best position to find their first round.
This, I gotta be honest, man, it feels like a little bit of meme play here from Focal. I know we've been talking out this is the tech, the Ying tech, but he struggled to get the kill through the window, had to take 3 different shots. That definitely would not have happened with some of the more, you know, normal guns I think that the attackers bring. So he felt like he was on a bit of an island, too far to take any long shots with the Reaper, left him in a dangerous spot. I think he could have with a different combination been a little bit more deadly, but Overtake does take 1 on defense. I said they needed to build up a bit of a round count. That's a great place to start.
Yeah, the fortress holds strong. Attackers are denied entry. And you know what? Ying Tech isn't a solo Q Tech. It's a team-based, and when you find yourself alone in a 1vx, yeah, maybe the Ying shotgun isn't going to be the one to get it done, even if every peek and every shot is just timed absolutely perfectly. So, we find ourselves tied up. Routine's going to continue forward run, and we head down to the test on the Tersh as we head to the tertiary site.
A little bit surprising considering Overtake could play the basement, and honestly with a Spiff 4K, I think that was sort of overwhelming at that point. I think they could certainly have had a better hold in the basement, so it's interesting that they want to transition here to play the first floor instead. And once again, the Observer's showing us that they opened up the hatch, inviting the attackers, saving them from burning some of that extra utility. So it's almost strange that they banned out the hard breaches, but then make it easier for this attacking team to make space without even needing to use hard breach.
Okay, so Shield is going to be on the board. Focal bringing out the Blackbeard, the Spearhead, and he's going to start taking a look towards that direct-to-site entry down there on the square section. Other than that, first minute going to start to ring out, and we're going to get some drones in, because what's step number 1 is finding where this vertical pressure is going to be at, and the defense yet again has doubled up on it as they sent 3 members up top to hold on to this 2F strong point here.
Yeah, just clearing out some of this defensive utility. So there is really a very, very small defensive presence here on site. You can see those blue outlines. Heavy hold upstairs, holding down Janitor at the top of the marble stairs. So this is an awful lot of work that Orgless needs to do upstairs to try and find this. Or they get lucky, push site direct, but it's going to be Blackbeard Focal here to make this push in. Question is, do they know? Stokesy holding on to Janitor. Yeah, there it is. The C4 comes out, but it's gonna miss.
Yeah, unfortunate for the C4. Now Mute with a shotgun. He's going to try to make the push up, and his grenades ring out. The danger's going to get even closer as the cross is held. A shotgun
Whoa,
to find
no way!
C4 to answer? No way! Jolly does go down, but the damage is done. Your spearhead is dealt with. Shotgun on shotgun action as Franklin brings out the Ying shot and says, tech is the way. Spiff onto the double kill is going to be the numbers equalizer now as we find ourselves into a 2-2 when the dust settles. Sheesh.
What an exchange upstairs. There is no way I thought Overtake sector was going to win that. The Blackbeard plus the coverage from behind on the hallway, there's no way I thought that they were going to win that. But perfectly timed C4 coming out from the defense and then answered back with a kill. Certainly evens this thing, puts it at a 2-2. You still have got Spiff left alive. He's sitting at 6-1 and in Rio here. So Rain and Satex have got their work cut out for them as this final 40 seconds ticks down.
That's right, Rotero drone now getting into that double, so they can put a little bit of pressure onto it as 36 seconds is now all that's left between a round win. Oh my lord, Inrio with the floor bang's gonna claim one, which means Sadex gonna be the last alive. No Kiba barriers to hold into, so what you got is what you work with. As it starts to count down, he's gonna find one, but Spiff gonna find one again. Not Stiff. Spiff gonna find one again. The hold was sweet. It got real messy. It was strawberry jam on the first floor here.
Yeah, that was certainly a bit of a miss. Orgless team comes up big, playing the tertiary site, wins it just, I wouldn't say like we expected, but that is definitely the more difficult site there for the defense to hold. Overtake, even though it looked like that was going to be a turning point, the hold upstairs in Janitor, but they couldn't quite convert that into a round win. A bit of a gift upstairs. So now we're going to go back down to the basement. Talked about this being a little bit of a surprise, so they've got to stop Spiff from making that quick entry downstairs, kill a little bit more time, lean into this util, and Goose is going to play the alibi again.
Well, you know, could be a bit of that comfort pick run. What you can tell is they got the intel off the board as the Valkyrie is gone. And Ying, they don't want the tech. They just don't want to deal with it. Candela is proving to be devastating as they're pushing in to take that space. And they want the attackers running into a brick wall. You know, they don't want them to be blind and just priority shooting headshot level. We'll take the Ying off the board and make them try it again. First bit of the round rotate is done data. Means we see back down to the basement, and they are yet again, as you said, they're gonna head back up to an extension here. We're gonna do it castle-less.
Yeah, I know Castle, a favorite operator on your side, and it does feel like a bit of a miss at this point. I like the combo with Fenrir and then Jolly running the mute there to try and block off any of the drone intel from coming in, but it doesn't feel like they've got enough of the utility in place. So they alibi, man, it's just, I love the pick, honestly. It just doesn't feel like the right choice from a competitive perspective here. They're looking to try and make their way into playoffs. From a what does this game mean overall in double round robin sense, Overtake is looking to make sure that they make it into playoffs. It's single elimination bracket taking place, so they want to try and at least find a win here, put up a fight against this team, but Focal just dominates Goose, and there goes the alibi down quick.
Oh. Focal good for two, and they try the C4 strat again, not quite pull it off though. So looking towards the long angle as they're going to drop down E2, get them back to some relative safety, right? They stopped the motion in from the main lobby, they thwarted the rest of the blitz push, but now they've got some ease of access down into site. They've given up all of that vertical space and run. There's still 2 minutes left on the board, plenty of time for this full attack team to really get active on these last three. Now, good part, got some area denial still in play. 2 of those smoke canisters and double shotties to ring out to try to stop it.
Well, and so that was an important piece of intel there. Inrail playing the Twitch. I was about to say they need to try and clear out some of this extra defensive utility. You still had all the Goyo canisters on the server side, and you needed to bait out the smoke canisters there from Rain. You still got 2 left in pocket, but Twitch tried to make the push down, lost one of the Twitch drones to that fight, and now looks like the second also gone. It's not clear that they have got enough of this utility cleared.
Yeah, and expending these smokes just a little bit too much as well. So they've got themselves in a bit of a jam here with that body balance. And they're going to find another one.
Oh,
Jolly
that's
goes down
unfortunate.
as well. Ingrio able to take him off the board, now into the vault, which means it's going to be Smoke last alive onto the stairs to try to pull this one off. And you got to be perfect for 5. You got to be on pace for the ace. Now starting to go down. They've got his location. He takes a quick peek, but Rival just better. Takes him off the board. Run. You're right here. That alibi might not been, you know, the play. It's a good gun. It's a great distraction, but if it isn't working the first time, I'm not saying it's trash, but it's definitely recycled gameplay.
Yeah, no, you talk about the comfort pick all the time, but sure, Aruni, bring the Aruni, the DMR, lean into that meta Azami not banned. I mean, there's a lot of good options here. And so they changed the lineup this time, but Goosey going to stick with sort of the off pick here. Ellis moved a little bit into the competitive meta, which honestly, not a bad idea. The Grismots giving you an option for the shield break, which Orgless, I think at this point, has run a shield on all 4 of their opening rounds at this point. So you assume at this point they're going to be bringing a shield, try and use the Ela there to give you just a little bit of an advantage. Frost? I thought you reinforced the wrong side of that wall. That's an interesting choice. Sort of blocks off Aruni's ability to hold the long angle there into top square, or at least change up the side that you're going to run it on.
Yeah, it might be a little bit more investment towards holding towards the windows, right? We kind of saw in one of those last comp ones where we had the person tucked into the corner holding on to bottom square. Actually, you know what, Ren? I'm totally mistaken. That was a ranked game we were in. That wasn't comp, so I don't actually know what we're doing. Maybe some unforeseen strat coming into play now.
I honestly like the Frost pick here. You know, if you got a team that's playing very aggressively on attack, you're just coming in, punching in the nose. Run the Frost as the alternative to try and find options there, you know, just to catch them off guard. I think that's a good call. We saw the jump in from the windows previously. That's where Franklin, you know, made that push in. Now, the second floor was an Overtake win, so this is a site they held on to and did win previously. Orgless is the one that needs to find the adaptation. And look at this, leaving the wall, I was going to say leaving the wall open, undefended, but then, yeah, the run out happens, but is well covered by the attackers. They get the opening pick again.
Yeah, this is just experience speaking now, right? And they're able to open up some of those walls. One of the problems with leaving that hard wall up on the right side is just like you can on Theme Park, you can open double duty with those thermites. And so they do. They open up into Janitor as well as it gets open. So now, Ella, the Grismont Mine's going to go out.
Oh, what a play!
Able to stop the play for now, but Folk able to find another kill. Spiff goes down and now puts us into a 4v2 situation.
Oh,
Jolly able to find his first
shot.
Gunner to take one as well, and now that equalizes onto the man count here. That body balance is now 2-2.
Heads up play from Goose there, tossing the Ela mine right on top of the planter, knocks Franklin off. That, I mean, they were seconds away from getting the plant down and putting this in a very dangerous situation for Overtake, but man, that was huge. And then Jolly picking up a double there to completely shut this thing down, but you hear one more of those goes off. It's a 2v1, 50 seconds left, and the plant going down again for the 3rd time.
That's right, now stuck in the E3 area. The cross is set up and ready, and you can just feel it slipping away a little bit here. For the Overtake side. They're going to have to do some work to live up to their namesake run to overtake the scoreline, bring this one back into contention. It's a best of one. It's a brawl for it all. You got to get active early.
I mean, to me, feels like we've seen a good run at this point from them. They've had some moments of brilliance. They've had some luck, taking advantage of some Orgless mistakes, but the problem is there is very few, and Orgless responds much better and quicker than we've seen Overtake at this point. So they've had good executes, plants going down, whether or not it's just direct engagement or going for site, objective-based gameplay. Orgless and this X-QoR team very good across the map. So Overtake, what are you going to change up? I like the Maestro pick here, coming up with a little bit of that extra intel, and if you're going to assume you're going to have to deal with a planting scenario, run the Maestro again to help diffuse that situation.
I like the call here. Adaptation 100% is needed to try to bring this one back, Run. So yeah, Maestro, good call. Overtake, while they've had some moments of brilliance, it's still chaos. And while that chaos looks classy, it's just not enough to get the job done. Orgless has taken attacking wins, and it shouldn't be the case here on bank defense, right? If you're competing at the higher level, you should be able to pick up a little bit more of those defensive rounds. Still doing some site setup here as the round gets started. As far as the attack side goes, going to switch it up just a few, a little double duty on the drones. Focal bringing out the Brava to try and get some of those Maestro cams off the board early.
I love this as a counter. We talked about Maestro being the counter to the objective-based gameplay, and Orgless counters it directly, and in one of the most fun ways you can steal this utility. I love this aspect of Siege. But if you're just joining us, welcome everyone to the seasonal series. We're in double round robin. Overtake Sector versus Orgless in a best of one here. It is weekend number... We're in weekend 2. Weekend 2 or 3? Jeez. 3.
Man, that's all 3 Maestro cams dealt with.
Weekend 2, Playday 3.
Weekend 2, Playday 3. Thanks, Unnamed. The Observer coming in clutch. With so many, like we talked about it, this just feels like it's taken a very long time at this point. 7 play days included, or 7 weeks, including all of the qualifiers early. So Overtake looking to find, again, the ways in this game matters. Need to be in the top 6 to move on to phase 3. That single elimination bracket.
Man, just a flawless execution with the Brava here, Run. They were able to get all 3 between the Flores and the Brava. They were able to get all 3 Maestro cams off the board. Goosey's able to take Inrio down, and that's going to be the start of the fall here. But Focal's able to push in and find one, and Plant's starting to go down. And now it's offside play, as they're going to have to put themselves into not an overtake, but a retake scenario, Run. It's a post Plant. Jolly can't aim, is able to find one off the board. So body balance tips into the hands of Overtake. Oh no! Oh, not the TK! A little bit of panic spray rings out. They're going to take one of their own off the board. Goosey, however, good for another. They're going to take Jolly off the board. Now it's going to be Goosey, the last alive, to try and bring this one back. Long arm potentially as he starts to get it done. They're opening it up and they're going to find it. Rival takes Goosey off the board, and it's just them being a bit better on the attack side of it. They got some good kills, but those mistakes, Run, they're punishing. The TK, that hurt.
1-5 half here for Orgless. Put up a hell of a attack there on bank. Would have expected, at least a 3-3 at this point. We needed Overtake to put up a few more rounds, build something up to try and defend against this X-QoR roster that's going to be very good on defense. And yeah, good question in the chat. Is the SSG Academy versus X-QoR going to also be on this channel? TBD, because SSG ACAD forfeit their first game today that was supposed to be versus the Mist Esports team. So not sure whether or not they're going to pick up that second game at 7 at the conclusion of this one, but it feels like it's probably a no.
Yeah, you're potentially right. Tough half if you're Overtake. Got some work to do, and you got to do it on the attacker side of it, which means mistakes in the first half cannot be repeated. You got to be just about perfect. And unfortunately for Overtake, we are going to go down to the basement, arguably the better of the sites, and what feels like an incredible miss. Mira is going to be left on the board, Run.
Yeah, I know there was some question about whether or not Clash had been quarantined in some of the series. She's not banned here, but I think Overtake from the attacking side, they know how good specifically Franklin, but several of the players on the Orgless side are playing the shields and don't want to have to deal with that. So I think that's maybe a little bit more difficult than the Mira to deal with at this point, because it's a mobile Mira and the shield play so good. So it's a tough choice if you have to choose between those two. Now the Cade on that side, right, making it a little bit more difficult to open up the hatches, and Orgless does not want to have to deal with the shields either. So 3 of those 4 bands coming in as shields.
Yeah, not a bad play, right? I'm not saying that shield players are bad players, but, you know, they can be the mark of less experienced teams where they bring them along. So if you cut the head off the snake very early, get rid of some of that spearhead, can be a little bit easier to hold in. And then, of course, Franklin brings out the Echo, which can have that similar effect that the Grismont did on that previous round, where they're just able to stop the plant from relative safety. Couple of C4s to boot, 4 of them, mind you. They're set up. Yeah, we don't have a Goyo, sure. We don't have a smoke on the board, yeah, absolutely. But we got enough C4s to make meat jelly on the inside of servers if they get active early enough.
Yeah, and the fact that they're running the Mira on the outside of the main breach makes it difficult there if they decided to bring along one of these others. But look at this, the Echo just giving them all of the intel that they need, to give everything they need to just clear this place out. The C4s come out, you said it, and it is flawless in what was really, was that still like a minute 20 left on the clock?
I didn't even get a chance to look at the timer, man. I'm gonna be real with you. I didn't even get a chance to see how much time it is. What I got out was pushed into server, round over. 6-1 overtake now needs to be perfect for 5. That's a tough statement, my friend.
There was a ton of defensive utility downstairs on the server side, the Echo drone up, and a complete miss there from Overtake, unfortunately, allowing all of that intel to feed in, and Orgless Ex-QoR just managed it perfectly. So basement defense done, and that puts us on match point in this best of 1 scenario. Overtake has got to be perfect for 5 on attack. I know there was a lot of comments in the chat early on before the game started. You know, if you're just joining us, don't know this team, don't know this channel, getting to watch this Orgless team, the Ex-QoR roster, they're very good. Certainly one of the teams a favorite to make a strong run in Challenger Series when that comes up again. Looking forward to see what they can do, and right now completely shutting down Overtake sector here in the Ubisoft seasonal series.
Yep, and in a game where it's the name of it is pace, 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 intel and pace, well run that, the defense has brought quite the lineup to the table here, right? Making sure that they've got some of that area denial, is bringing out the Lord himself, Tachanka on board. But because the Mira was not banned out, we're going to see some compy 2F Mira strats going on as well. Double down with the hold duty as Castle, the better call here, Castle and a zombie both going to be utilized. I mean, everything on this lineup is designed to just make sure that you cannot do anything with any relative speed. And they're hoping for a 20-second meta with 4 alive to be able to combat that one.
I'm reloading.
Spiff's pushed up into that double-digit territory, picked up 10, and on the Overtake sector side, it's not that nobody is contributing. There's nobody sitting at 0 in anything. Everybody's sort of even, but it's just not been enough to shut down this Orgless team. So, and you take a look at how much intel this team has. Drones, the Echoes, the Bulletproofs, just cycling back and forth. They're going to know where Overtake makes this push, the incident happens, and exploit that intel quickly. So we're at a minute 55. This time I'm going to pay a little bit closer attention to the clock. Overtake got to clear out some of these power positions. Focus, they seemed a little bit too spread out right now.
That's right. So a couple have made it in onto the first floor, as you can see Gunner and Goosey trying to claim that first man advantage, holding on to ATMs, allowing that rappel to stay just a little bit longer. They now gave away their location, so they know they got some ATM presence. How are they going to do? What are they going to capitalize here? Grimbees start to go off as they're looking for some intel towards E3, and they're going to get rewarded with it. So as the smokes go out, they've got the triple pings going down, so they know locations now. Run, this could be pretty good, except for you got to deal with Franklin. Franklin's going to find the first kill. That's going to take Goosey off the board. One of the frag leaders, Satex, is able to answer back. Focal goes, and then it's a push on to Banana, and it just is falling apart.
Oh, no.
Yet again, Run, we find ourselves in a 1v4. Gunner's able to take Inrio off the board as he starts a bit of that comeback. But feels like damage done. 47, you got to start making that push a little bit closer. You got to take some of those engagements. You need to look for that 1v1 situation to make your end round a little bit better. A couple of shots ring out, and he's going to find another one as Spiff goes down. That was part of the win con Met Run. So now a 1v2. Can he bait his way into a round here? My thought is probably no.
No. Orgless is not going to throw all the bodies. They might throw one more. Focal or Franklin might push up here, but they're not going to handle both of them. They're going to rely on the utility. He's going to have to run through the fire, and oh no, even his teammate calls out the GG as Focal finishes him off with a melee.
Tough. That's tough, and just kind of very conducive to how this entire game went, right? It was definitely Overtake on the back foot. It was a David versus Goliath situation, and unfortunately, David forgot to put some rocks in the sling to take that fight on. They get trounced 7-1, my friend. Tough game.
Forgot to put the rocks in the sling? Oh, no. Yeah, Goliath won this one in a big way, and not unexpected. We know this Ex-QoR roster. They are looking for an org to represent them, and honestly, they deserve it because this is a hell of a good team that is going to continue to go far. So we're going to take a quick break, figure out which is the next game, make sure we can find a game that has both of the teams playing, which has been difficult so far in the Ubisoft seasonal series at this point. We're looking for one more game here tonight before Saturday the 20th is done.
That's right. Hey, if your team's playing, send us a message on Twitter. Maybe we can get your game casted. Just make sure that, of course, the other team is not forfeiting their way on out. Sit back, relax, folks. Can we come back, fingers crossed, for a second match? Heyo.
Let's go.
What's up, and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. We did it! We found a match. One that was not forfeited, and one that could potentially be a banger, and it's a couple of names that you're a little bit familiar with, eh, Whiskey?
Yeah, that's right. We were going to cover originally that QoR versus SSG ACAD, and we talked about it during the first match. SSG ACAD forfeit both of their matches today. That is unfortunate for them, but it does open up the opportunity for us to cover a team we wanted to cover last week, which was the Spaceshoobs MX team. They forfeit both of their games last weekend because they couldn't find everybody on the roster. This week, though, they get it. Now, their matchup in this double round robin is versus Overtake sector, so we just got to see them struggle against the Ex-QoR roster. Now's their opportunity to bounce back. Warmed up, ready to go. It is Spaceshoobs MX taking on Overtake sector.
That's right. A little bit of not retribution, but proving that you belong to be here. Stokesy, Gunner, Sadex, Jolly, and Goose gonna try to get it done against this Spaceshoobs team. Run, this could be a pretty good game, although relatively unknown on the other side of the Spaceshoobs. We haven't got to watch them play, really. We do know how Overtake has played, at least in that last best of one. So, you know, they put a little something together, something a little extra special. We could see this be a game.
This is sort of like the day of the pro players, right? We got to see Spiff playing on that Ex-QoR roster. Now on the Spaceshoob side, this is Alan Durf of the Cruelty fame, right? He played on Cruelty for 2 years in the Pro League, and they won a few matches. I wouldn't say they were extraordinarily successful, but they did have some success in the Pro League. They won a bunch of money, and he played on the TSG roster when they were in the LATAM Pro scene in the previous in the at the end of stage 1, and they played all the way through on Rad Esports as a part of the Challengers series. So Alan Durf has been there, done that in some high-profile leagues. So is he the guy that's going to carry this team forward? I think it's great they've got him.
yeah, can lend a little bit of experience to the field. And what's better when you're headed to Clubhouse than having a little bit of experience in the pocket on how you want to hold? It's a textbook map run, which means could favor a team that's back to the basics, back to the drawing board, starting from that square one scenario. So, potentially in a map that everybody knows, this one could go either way.
Honestly, I'm an Overtake sector fan just based on this map ban. They go ahead and take down Skyscraper and Consulate to start off. Let's go, my friend. And then they had to choose at the end, Chalet versus Club, two of the defaults, the old school maps. Which one do you want to play? And we used to have a saying around here on the Siege Double Shot, don't take the Shoobs to Chalet. And of course, we're talking about the NA, the US team, but apparently the rule still holds. Overtake sector bans Chalet, and we go to Clubhouse, my friend.
Okay, so you're an Overtake fan. I'm rooting Shoobs today. We'll see who's gonna come out on top for this one. It's Clubhouse run. We love this map, and yes, it can feel very Oregon-like, right? It can feel very, you go here because there's no other options in your map pool to bring it out that you feel confident on. But it's still, especially with the ban system in place and the new environmental ingredients and the new operator Denari, has made Clubhouse feel a little fresh, right? You still have to take that vertical. It's still site overplay when you're on the 2F sites. But there's been some fun changes going along, and talking about fun changes, let's look at that ban. Castle off the board. Man, that's a good ban.
Wow. That's a huge play here from the Overtake side, from the attackers. They want to have access. They want to make it easier to get in. Interesting that they didn't try and take down, I guess they balanced it between the Breach Denial and the Castle. So this is a good setup, a good way to balance the bans here. So from the Shoobs MX side, how are they going to play it? Said it, Alan Durf, they're running. He's running the A7 tag. That was a Rival 7. Again, they were part of making their play in Pro League as well. So we'll see if he can help carry this team and Overtake is redemption time.
Okay, Run, so we're not going to start out standard here, right? We're going to give a nod towards tradition, take it back a couple of years to where Cache CCTV was the site to go to. Gym Bedroom, unheard of, potentially only as the Terse site play. And I like this, a primary site, back to the roots. You've got very default operators, except for, Tubarao, of course, was not here in that as an operator when Cache CCTV was that primary site. So a little bit different is that you can hold on to the walls a little bit better. If you can guard that window, you can potentially keep this door or this breach closed for quite a bit longer with Tubarao.
Yeah, certainly it just sort of bolsters this this setup from the defensive side and trying to keep this wall shut and running the electricity. Alan Durf on the bandit, making sure that it's difficult there to get in. So you said it, Eli.Shoob here playing. This is man, this feels like it's going to be a great game. Overtake, now I feel like warmed up and ready.
Yep, and there's going to be the first off the board. Gunner going to get his headpiece missing as he gets taken down off the board. Still holding on to that window, still holding on to that wall, and that's exactly what we were talking about, is you got to make it difficult for Bandit to stay around and keep those charges on. Well, they've got an extra big concentration run. You're going to have to fight through the meat grinder on this one to get that wall open.
That opening pick there done. Overtake starting on the back foot again. It is attack side here and what is, I think, generally considered a defensive-sided map. So, gonna see, oh, look at this. Man, Smurf just put himself in a dangerous position, almost walks out looking for the run out, takes a peek, almost loses his head, but just a miss there on the Overtake side, so he survives the fight in another battle. We're down to this first minute 20, and look at this. They have a little bit of control at this point. From the Spaceshoobs MX side, they have completely given up the Gym Bedroom con side here, so this is a ton of real estate that Overtake has got to work with.
Yeah, I like this too, right? 2 Selma charges and a thermite still available, so that two-pronged push that that Clubhouse is known for still can be an option here. The problem is we're getting down to it, right? They haven't dealt with the bandits. Now the flanks are going to come up and claim thermite off the board, which means the Selma charge is going to be all you have to get it done. Goose going to answer, but Stokesy going to find one, but Giuseppe going to get answer back with a shotgun of Stokesy goes down. So now we find ourselves in a 2-2 situation as the catwalk still has not been claimed. They're making a good push up. No, it has been claimed. Okay, so they've got some great space. They don't have the wall open just yet. So only one of them can be active. Selma Charges gets in, and he's just going to push in, and that was a mistake. You have 23 seconds. There's time to hold. You got to wait for the cross, and instead, they pay the price. Doesn't look. Alan Durf is able to take them off the board, and that's going to be a good night's sleep tight. Shoes. Good for the first one.
Okay, defense picks up one. Overtake, they got close, but you said a little bit of mistake there. Capital looked like he had an option to go for the default plant. They were holding the cross, but the ace charge opening up the wall just a little bit too late. They really needed a flash, something, a smoke there to dump in to try and obscure the vision of the player top red so Capital could make that jump in. But Spaceshoobs capitalize, pick up one on defense. Overtake here is struggling to start off. It's round one, though. Plenty of time left in this best of one.
Okay, now we head over to what is widely considered the primary site. It's a gym bedroom bringing it along. They don't got the castle to kind of help hold on to that highway window, which has kind of become one of the staples of holding on to. What do they do, though? Because you banned the castle and the Cade, left a couple of operators on the table that could be very impactful for a gym bedroom. Specifically, I'm talking Eli on the Azami, right? The architect brought to the table means that you can really just set up a very difficult to get into defensive posture right here off the bed here, right? You can already see him starting to hold up there.
This is a pretty spread out, a little bit of extension over here. We'll see how heavy this roam game goes for the Spaceshoobs MX. But you said it, yeah, a extension over on the Cache CC side. Did a good job holding down this site when it was the direct. That combination of the Mira and the Mute, I think, makes this difficult there for the Overtake team to try and find some space. So they're going to focus on, though, looks like the Jacuzzi wall, and wow. MX is giving it away for free. All of that time they spent holding onto the wall for the Cache CC side, they're just going to let it go this time easy.
Yeah, call them Elsa the way they be letting it go run. So now they've got themselves set up into a little bit better position, which means Gunner's going to find the first kill. Eli gets taken off the board. Overtake now in a good position to start to take some of that critical space, right? They've got the Mira dealt with. Now the next step, trying to get that Azami off the board. Bit of a run out. Smurf's gonna find Stokesy. Satex answering back on Araxton. Now it's gonna put us into a 4v3. Still plenty of time left onto the board as Frost gets active towards that vault, looking for some Logi presence. Over towards construction, it's a Vector trying to take some of that space back just a bit. Still a C4 in hand to be utilized as they get a little bit closer.
Yeah, you saw some of the lasers coming through, so for sure Giuseppe knows that they have got a little bit of presence both on highway and the con side, and he's just flipping around, looking, shooting. But Jolly can aim as he takes down the X-Pro Allen. This is a great call here, and now puts them up a 4v2, their best opportunity early on here in the gym bedroom side. They've got a minute 15 to work with.
All right, and so they answer back. Gunner's going to be good for another 2 as he's able to just clean this one up from the construction door. And Overtake looking a little bit better here as they're tying up on the scoreline run. Not a bad push.
Yeah, that was a much better play this time. So they isolated, were able to open up the sight lines very early, so taking advantage of the fact that it looked like Spaceshoobs kind of missed the hold there on the Jacuzzi side, and then just clearing out the opposite, the cache side of the map, gained all of that con side space, and then just pinched the Spaceshoobs. Well played on their side, so definitely a better round fundamentally.
Yeah, the big thing that was missing for me on that was that we just didn't have any breach to now, right? And I don't know if that was just You know, we went comfort picks over that, but one of the things on Gym Bedroom is you're going to be opening everything up, right? The double hard breach. You've seen him bring it to Cache CCTV. You saw him bring it to the gym Bedroom cake, and now, yet again, they're going to be doing the same thing here. Since the Hatch Queen isn't available, you're going to need to take. Oh no, she is not banned out. That was the last map. Well, I mean, they're going to be able to get it done from a distance either way. Don't have to get onto it now that Thermite's not going to be played.
Yeah, in this case, all right, so I got distracted by the Denari. We haven't got to see the trip connectors played in so many places, but one of the places that they seem to be very good is the stairs. Difficult to try and shoot because there's such a small contact area. The attackers need to focus on it really carefully, and occasionally you don't even see them as you walk down. They reset very quickly. I think that is a fantastic set of a utility, and love that we're getting to see sort of that change up now. This Jolly playing the Hibana here is interesting. We have seen the defense take advantage and shoot up through that floor to take down the Hibana on rappel, and it looked like they took a couple shots, but Spaceshoobs missed it, allowing Hibana to get that kitchen hatch open.
I love when we're playing downstairs in the basement and we have got some lurk presence up on the second floor. The problem is they know you're here, right? So they're putting some attention onto you, and while you well, never mind. They're going to find that first kill off the board as Valkyrie's able to take one, Smurf able to answer as well, and now that top floor presence that I love so much, going to be just that much more vital.
Holy hell.
Smurf just going crazy up top. You shall not pass situation, and it all crumbles apart for Overtake here on this basement hold.
Man, they drop hatch, he picks up one, Buck pushes in, tries to go for the flash, but misses it. Smurf comes up with another kill, taking down Goosey, and holy cow, we're in a 5v1 with a minute 20 left. Stokesy, all that's left. I mean, he's got a couple options here, but against a full 5-stack, and again, you still have got Smurf upstairs, and Eli's just going to walk and shoot him in the face to close out that round.
Jesus, man, what a defensive hold, a huge round. But that's the problem when you're playing Skyscraper. It's hard to get in the building. Wait a minute. This wasn't Skyscraper Run. This is Clubhouse, and they just could not get it going, my friend. Get in, die, and all of a sudden, it's a 1vx scenario, and the defense is firing on all cylinders. They find the first 2 out of 3. It means our next round rotate. It means we're going to do it all again. Who are we banning this time?
There you go. Another hard breach opt down, so to combine with the Maverick there to make it force them into Hibana or the Thermite, which Overtake had been generally successful with, opening up those sight lines with the Thermite, but the Bandit is a good call at this point. Allen played the Bandit, was a big part of the reason why they won that Cache CC side to start with, and that wall, they basically held on to it for nearly all of that first round, made it very difficult for Overtake. So I think that's a good call, getting rid of those, forcing them into a running. I was going to say the two-brow, but they're not going to this time. Eli's going to run the mute as that soul breach tonight.
I like the call. Yeah, you can still get the breach opened up, but now you've got a C4 and a shotgun and an SMG-11 to answer back when it eventually does happen. Now, to get the ace off the board, which means if you're wanting that two-pronged approach, you're going to have to opt for some can openers this time. Stokesy bringing out the Grim, so going to double up. We'll bring some can openers along from Cap Down Grim and a little bit of intel as well. Not going to be able to mute jam on this one, as you could just take the high ground for this.
I don't know if we got to see where all those mute jammers went down. I think he was covering on the top of the red stairs there, protecting a little bit of the push in, but they're not going to... We have seen some teams use the mute jammers on the top of the warehouse there, the rafters, to try and prevent the Capital from making the push in, but they're going to allow this Overtake team to open up all the sight lines they need to really put pressure on the garage side. They got the main breach open, they got the Capital holes open, and right now Allen, playing that Wamai top garage, is going to be in a dangerous spot.
That's right. You're going to see Smurf start to rotate around as the pressure down below starts to get a little bit more present. Going to be looking towards opening up construction next so they can make sure that they capitalize on that split approach. Kind of a strange one here. We're missing the Azami, right? And she's on the board. This is a cash CCTV hold, which means catwalk will be a clear and consistent battle. Azami obviously helps in that situation. Capitao going to send out some flames.
Oh, what a miss.
Jackson to take Jolly off the board. Answered back as Goose is able to take one before Stokesy gets taken down. And now the pressure pushing up onto the catwalk is going to find Smurf finding another kill. And all of a sudden, when the smoke clears, when the fire starts to die down, it's a 4v2. Lion and Capitao, the only ones left. A grenade rings out, but they're not quite able to do it. An environmental ingredient kind of locks off the top of Red, at least visually for a moment, making them rotate back, but Smoke still holding on to the stairs. Minute and 22 left. Kind of a tough position to find yourself in. Still got two smokes, still got that line ping, and in fact, as they say it, they're gonna try to suss out where somebody's sitting, but nobody gonna take that swing just yet.
Look at those cross lines. They had top Red on absolute lockdown, and even though Lion is taking some shots outside on the rappel, they're ready for him. This defense had it completely shut down. So despite all the work that they did opening up the walls early on, looking like it gave the Overtake team a huge advantage, to me that felt chaotic with a bunch of missed shots, right? The trades are going back and forth. No one really being completely dominant on either side of the map, winning some of those battles. And then until it looked like Overtake just got stalled out, right? They lost a couple of the key players in what was a little bit of chaotic gameplay and then just completely stalled out on the attack. You talked about the Azami being, not brought for that defense. The smoke was an interesting choice, but Spaceshoobs had the hold set up for it, locked down at the top of Red, and that was the place that Overtake's attack died.
Well, you're right. It was a masterclass in denial, my friend, and attackers just could not find a crack in the armor. So now we take it back over to the gym bedroom. Spaceshoobs up by 2. And not all hope lost here, though. Like, Overtake has had some great moments, right? They've had some very dominant, present rounds. So if they find another one, not feeling too bad about going on to the defensive side. The thing is, Spaceshoobs feel like they're starting to get a little bit of momentum in their favor.
Jammer ready.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was back and forth for that 1, 2, 3, but that ended that third round was the flawless round from the Spaceshoobs, and then they pick up round 4. So now that's 2 in a row for them off the back of that flawless. So I would absolutely agree with you. Momentum in the favor of the Spaceshoobs. So Overtake managed a 7-1 loss versus that Orgless Ex-QoR roster. So they've currently matched their round count from game 1. We played at about 6:10 p.m. earlier today. Maybe it was too long of a hold, too long to wait. They just, got cold sitting and waiting for so long for the rest of these matches to develop. And that's part of the problem when you don't have, the double elimination brackets tend to move a little bit faster than these sort of Swiss rounds.
Located the hostile.
All right, double shield duty as they opt for 2 spearheads here. Blackbeard and the Blitz on board, and the big part is going to be trying to force this Azami out of that cache CCTV area. And instead of forcing him out, Sens is just going to put down the gadget and start to get to work onto the windows, try to catch a free pick. And now it's a split push right onto the hard breach. Blackbeard's going to come up the stairs. They do get the down onto the thermite, but run. The plant starts to go down. Smurf takes Stokesy off the board, and now into a 4v3, a 4v2. They're going to stop the plant, and now Blackbeard, the sole presence on the back stairs, is going to be the last one alive. And yet again, Overtake find themselves in a 1vx into a none VX as Giuseppe's able to take that final kill.
Damn, I thought this Overtake team had that. They, the split push and the distraction over on the over with the Sens on the highway windows. They push in 3 through the Jacuzzi side breach. It looked like they had the Mira on lockdown, shut her down. Then a teammate comes in and takes down one of the shields. That looked like it was the turning point, but the defense just hit all of their shots when they needed to. When it came time, the Spaceships pick up another. That is 3 in the row off of a quicker execute there from Overtake. And I honestly liked the plan. It's just unfortunate that they missed a couple of those key plays. Felt like they needed a little bit of projectile utility to maybe try and block off some of those rather than relying only on the blitz shield as the alternative. But man, close for Overtake, but they come up short again. Do not go to a 5-1-1/2, guys. Want to see a win right here now on the basement.
Man, I loved it. Yeah, an adaptation by the attack side, but unfortunately this map belongs to the defense. It was a trap, and they got absolutely baited into it. So what do? You take it downstairs. Defense is going to show another move here. Some more operators being brought to the table. Specifically, Giuseppe onto the Scopos, Eli onto the Fenrir. Going to stop some of that quicker action and still mean that you have to pay attention to the potential lurk, to that potential flank player who invariably is going to be, or inevitably going to be sitting up on the second floor. They doubled up on it this time. Smurf was crazy last time he sat up onto the 2F. This time he's got the power of friendship to help him out.
Yeah, really, that basement win that they had that was flawless back on round 3, huge part of that was Smurf going absolutely nuclear, like you said. It Nitro goes out, but it's a miss. So if they can contain him, if they can shut down the 2F hold from Smurf this time, I think Overtake has got a significantly better chance. But it's Giuseppe upstairs also taking down one of the attackers, but they answer back this time. Satex in the right place, right time. So now tied up 4-4, 1 minute into this round.
Yeah, 4-3. Stokesy able to take Eli off the board. That means the Fenrir gadgets are going to stay where they're at. Scopos going to rotate back down as we head into a bit of a turtle strat here. And what does that do? That still provides some of that ghost pressure, right? You don't know if that person is rotated back downstairs or not. So until you get a drone up there, until you get a body up there, until you take that other Scopos off the board, that flank can still be a clear and present danger. 4-2 would be the ideal half here run for Overtake, looking to sit themselves on a standard half before they go on to their defensive side.
Honestly, I'd be a little bit worried about the Buck opening up all these kitchen sight lines, but the fact that the defense does not have any C4s in pocket and only Giuseppe with one of those impacts gives them some of that space for relative safety. Now, Alan Derv still playing the Izami, holding down that sight line, just sort of bouncing back and forth. So Kitchen, the hatch drop is not free. They need to deal with the Izami, but no way they managed to make it through. She's still alive and the plant is going down.
Yeah, huge play here by Overtake, and they're able to find one. Satex good for another 2 towards the end. A headshot and a body shot to claim the round. It's a 4-2 half, a little bit of a standard split, and if you're an Overtake fan, you're breathing a little bit of sigh of relief there, right? Wiping the sweat off the brow. We got out standard, now we can get active on attack.
That's what we needed. We did not want to see another 5-1-1/2 out of this team, and they pulled it off. They pulled off the standard split, yeah. So now it's time for them to show what they can do on the defensive side. The problem is, again, up against the Spaceshoobs MX team, they pulled off a flawless. They've got the playmakers. We'll see how they manage Club. So this was Overtake's map choice, right? It came down to it. Chalet and Club, and Overtake picked Club as the place they wanted to do battle. When we were talking about the score lines in this round robin series, the Spaceships are sitting at 1-4, and 2 of those were from forfeit, so we didn't really get a good sense of how good this team is going to be. Overtake was sitting at 2-3, so they're at least have played the games. I think they only forfeit 1, so at least a little bit better of a record. But now Spaceships trying to overcome the forfeits from last weekend to make a statement.
Fans go through. And I think in who's winning the ban battle, attackers are going to take this one. Because as we've talked about previously, Run, even though you're getting the hard breach, the Hibana and the Selma charges off the board, there's just a ton of options, right? Everybody is bringing can openers now, and while it is a bit more dangerous, right? Because with a C4 on the board, that means when you're directly on the hatch trying to open it up with a can opener, you put yourself in danger of the C4s. But, right, getting the breach denial off the board instead, it feels like a bigger win here.
It's an you know what? This is an interesting strategy that I think needs to be studied from some of the scholars in the Siege community, right? When you have the hard breach ops on the board like Hibana, Ace, right? We pick those operators because they're hard breach, because that's their primary objective, right? When you take them off the board, you essentially like free the attacking team from having to make that choice about which operator do I bring. It allows them to bring one of the can opener ops like Ying, like Grim, which bring extra primary utility to the game. They're not being picked solely because of that hard breach. So I think that actually gives the attacking team more flexibility when the defense takes away the hard breach op and sort of like helps make that choice for them. And honestly, I think that's a great pick and helps the attackers.
Yeah, I could 100% see that. Now you need to start to see Valkyrie head back downstairs. We don't have any roam presence, no lurk presence here for the defense as everybody's holed up down. It's turtle strat into the basement. So gonna be able to take this top floor and this first floor with relative ease, no contest, and be able to start applying some of that vertical pressure just a little bit easier. We did bring, of course, Striker onto the board, who is a self-contained breaching unit, not opting for the impact EMPs this time, but the grenades help dislodge some of those defenders from those positions, maybe take out some of those Goyo canisters. I like what we brought on the defense. Like, this is a defense that is going to be tough to deal with.
Oh, well played there from Stokesy. Using the impact tricking on the hatch. You said it. The attackers, they do go for the can opener. There was a possibility they would take the shot. Both of them playing really out in the open at this point. So it's a dangerous spot, but are they going to get this hatch open? No more impact. Stokesy's got one more impact here. And then the big play, though, Goose holding on to the C4. So that's going to be the piece that could be the difference maker for this attack team.
One can opener and one impact to try and stop it. The difference between getting the shields open up and having to push down the stairs could be huge here.
There it is!
Going to find one off the board. It gets answered back immediately as Eli is able to take Goose down. Does put us into a 3-3 now with 43 seconds left. I don't know if towards that vertical play on that kitchen hatch going to be the big factor here. It's slowed down. Grenades come out to try to force some positions. They know they've got somebody playing close on the generator. Durf is going to take Jolly off the board, giving that man advantage back over to the attackers, but Stokesy able to answer back as Vector's able to find a headshot. Now answered back again is Alan Durf. Good onto the kill for Satex. All of a sudden, Stokesy, the last, a 1v4, 12 seconds to hold out. Has to be in a position to stop the plant as they're pushing in towards that blue side. They've claimed position in church. The cross is set up. They're starting to go. 4 seconds. He's going to be able to potentially get it. No!
Almost.
Eli doesn't go for the plant. He takes the swing instead off the beautiful call. They're able to find themselves around.
He almost didn't even need to get off that plant and allow his partner to go for the shot, but man, they just played that perfectly from the defensive side. The Spaceshoobs pick up another win, this time on attack. Overtake. And I wouldn't say struggling to get anything going because they hit a bunch of shots. They managed to deny most of that util. I think they blocked the kitchen hatch from being opened at all. So that was a solid lockdown they had, but to lose it at the end, 1v2 scenario, that was just better played by the Shoobs in the closing seconds of that round.
Yeah, bulletproof coordination there, right? They're just collapsing on site from every single angle, and while some of those battles were lost, in the end, the 2v1, he had to take 2 gunfights. And if Eli sticks that plant there, the potential for the round to be over was huge, because he was there in a position to deny the plant. The cross just slightly out of reach to be able to take him off the board. So almost was a hero play there, but more surgical and calculated on the side of Spaceshoobs.
I was seeing Overtake have a similar setup we did for the Spaceshoobs across their defensive site upstairs on the 2nd floor. Hey, big extension over on the Cash CC set. That has certainly become the typical comp strat at this point. Locking down, combination of the mute, holding on to the top red stairs, a zombie over on that side of the map as well. So that's a ton of utility and players set up over on the Cash CC side of the map. And you can see the blue outlines are all sort of converging over on that side of the map. So looks very much like this Cash CC side over to start with, but now they're going to push over. They've opened up that main breach quickly. Got to deal with the Mute Hammer, and then they'll have full access on this side of the map.
You know what's surprisingly absent again? Overtake not opting to bring the castle along. And I'm not saying that the castle is the win con here, but in a game of pace and you're losing that battle, you need to bring more to the table. And whether it's, you know, the Banshee charges, whether it's some trap ops, really, you need to bring the castle. That's what you need to do. Double up with the Azami in the castle and just force the other team to bring some operators to deal with that, slow them down, play the long game, and then hold your angles towards the end of it. And so, you know, tough position to find yourself in on the defense is they've already taken care of the mirror. They're already getting rid of some of these Kiba barriers, and now you lost 2 players.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Wow, they completely shut down over on the Cache CC side of the map. That was Goose and Jolly holding down over there. So the attackers have got a little bit of control. They haven't made the push into Khan yet, but they are darn close. So Gunner or Rain here are going to try and hold on to the angle, slow them down. But there's a minute 22 left. Plenty of time. It's a 3v3. There was a couple key operators on the defensive side that go down.
Claim some space. Now going to try to put some pressure onto Wamai, who holds out into the construction area. But they've got some solid holds here, right? One onto the main breach, one still holding Logi, and one holding construction. Now as the fires start to ring out, they're going to get some bees in to take a second look and try to put maybe isolate one of these gunfights. Eli's able to take Sadex off the board, which means looking towards that jump in as they've now claimed some space on both sides. Oh, man. Eli good for another one as it goes to a 3-1. Gunner able to take one back as 39 seconds rings out, but it's just not going to be enough. Gunner gets his head absolutely ripped off, and Spaceshoobs find themselves in a really good position here in the late round.
Oh, really good. Yeah, talk about it. Match point, my friend. It's a best of one between these two teams fighting for really to stay out of the bottom 2 spots here in the round robin in the Ubisoft Seasonal Series. This is the North America Summer Contenders League. Top 8 battling out in the double round robin. Bottom 2 eliminated. Top 6 move on to Phase 3, the single elimination bracket to determine the winner. So, trying to stay out of the bottom 2 spots. There's been a couple teams forfeiting, so want to make sure that they can stay above the crowd that just shows up at this point. Now, it feels like from an Overtake side, they've had some good plays. There's been some good moments. That one came down to it. Thought they were going to have a win, but really, it's something we talked about on their attacking side was getting sort of, you know, stalled out in the mid-round, allowed the Spaceshoobs to just gain the space that they needed. And when it came down to it, just holding the final few seconds, a couple rounds now, they've been unable to do that. So they're not getting rolled here by the Spaceshoobs MX. They're just not holding on the way they need to.
I think their mistakes are getting punished. You know, I wouldn't maybe call it rolled, maybe, but maybe I also might. It's 6-2, and some of the basic operations not quite bringing to the table. So need a better adaptation here by the defense if they want to bring this back for 4. On the side of the attack, they're gonna do a couple of different things. They're going to bring the Twitch in to get rid of those Goyle canisters. Smurf is bringing along the Deimos to hunt down anybody that potentially is sitting up, really. The focus being Stokesy and Goosey there. And then Grim and those bees going to get active trying to suss out some locations.
I actually love the Deimos call. Deimos was such an important part of the meta for Year 10 Season 3. The vertical play from Deimos was like, you know, making a huge appearance in the Pro League so often, even in the lower tiers of Siege from a competitive level. And then he's sort of fallen off at this point. Almost, I wouldn't say disappeared, but certainly be paying significantly less here in Year 10 Season 4. So I still think he's a great op, though, especially on these vertically integrated sites where holding the vertical control is so important. So I think it's a good call here from the Smurf side, which is dangerous for Overtake. We're wanting to see them pick up a couple more rounds, make a game out of this thing, and right now it's not happening.
That's right. So they've managed to hold on to all life here within the first minute, which is a better position for Overtake, right? The longer they hold, well, I'm gonna say the longer they hold out, the better opportunity they'll have towards the late round to be able to just dig in and settle it. But unfortunately, Gunner gonna get taken off the board. That body balance is gonna tip into the hands of, Jesus. It's gonna tip into the hands of Spaceshoobs very early. Stokesy is able to find one as they answer back onto Alan Durr. But now puts us into a 4v3 situation, and gotta try to flush out this player that's sitting on generator if you're the Spaceshoobs, right? So start sending out some bees here. Grim with the swarm, and he's warning the corner. With those bees as they're trying to suss him out. He's going to have to rotate out of there and hold on to the long game. In fact, if Grim's going to find the kill onto Stokesy. Sadix answers back, but now into a 3-2, into a 2-2. Jolly finds one of the vectors. He keeps re-peeking and repeating, trying to find another one, but not able to find the kill just yet. 40 seconds as it starts to count down. Man, an impact to yourself is tough. Now the sound cue starts to go out, but they're located onto the camera, so the play's going to be sus. Put themselves in a position to start getting that plant down run. Whew.
Yeah, take a breath. This is the final round. 20 seconds left, and the Spaceship's gonna pull it off. It is all up to Satex.
Yeah, they've got him on cam, and it is over, man. Giuseppe able to take it. Spaceshoobs doing what Spaceshoobs do, and that's a total domination.
Oh, tough day for Overtake, and for them to be a part of the stream on both sides. Unfortunate. They put up a couple good rounds, a couple good plays. They had some great moments, but man, unfortunate they weren't able to pull off a win today. Good news is for them, though, that the Contenders League is not done yet. We still have got another day. Tomorrow, 6 p.m., we're also going to be back with more of the Ubisoft seasonal series here. Trying to figure out who's going to be in that top 6 to make it into Phase 3.
Yep, it will be a will they or won't they forfeit tomorrow when teams are trying to figure out who they're going to be matched up with. Like I said, it's been a bunch of them just folding under the pressure of the seasonal series. Unfortunate. Hopefully, we'll get some banger games tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I would love to see this the SSG ACAD team pull together. I know we almost had them on stream today. The discussion about whether or not that roster is going to stick together, but for sure, core or the Ex-QoR roster, Orgless, they need to find an org to represent them because they are one of the up and coming greats. So we're also just about I think 1 week away from the start of Element 6. I know that got announced. Plenty of information on Twitter to go check that out. We will be covering qualifiers for the Element 6 as well. So there'll be a lot of the combination here of the seasonal series and Element 6 as we move forward into Phase 3. So it's getting close, but we talked about it. It's just a long series at this point. Some questions about how this is going to work in the future, but big GGs to Spaceshoobs to picking up round 6 today.
Yeah, and the formats I imagine will change as we get a little bit more comfortable with the new series. You got some growing pains. It happens. It's a new series. It's a new tournament. And it's a long one to start us out. We've got a ton of Siege coming your way, folks, here in the next couple of months. But even in the next week specifically, a grand finals for the Skyline gaming community. The Whiskey Boys will be taking on the cast for that. We've got Element 6 coming up very soon. Potential for the Rival Roller Series to get active on Sundays. I mean, there is just so much Siege to be had, and you're gonna find it all here on the Siege Double Shot. Check us out on Twitter. I'm at glitter_whiskey. He's at Racing ENGR, and together we are the Siege Double Shot. Also, we covered a bunch of the Stompin' coverage during the Challenger Series. You know, he's been one of our favorite pro players to check in on and see how he's doing. He's up for Play of the Month. So there's a link in the chat. Go check it out. Vote for King Stompin'. So he can claim that accolade, which he so deserves, my friends. Unfortunately for us, though, we're here. We're at the end of it. Siege is no more today. Check us out on TikTok. Check us out on YouTube. All of your shorts highlighted, your gameplays, your talent showcased. Run, I think we're here. I think we're done with it.
That's right, my friend. Thanks, everyone, for joining us for the Ubisoft Seasonal Series today here in North America. We're going to bring more of it again tomorrow, 6 p.m., and then 6 p.m. on Monday for that grand final for the Skyline gaming community. proving grounds.
That's right. Okay, folks. Well, you heard it. We've reached the dreaded part of the evening where we must, alas, bid you adieu. So as the lights start to dim and the jukebox starts to sing closing time, as always, my friends, you don't have to go home.
But you can't stay here.
Ayo.
Let's go.